So people come at cults a lot, me included. In fact, I have a whole playlist of Rate My Cult. But here I am going to defend one cult, and that is the cult of fitness. Bear in mind, I do not think being fit means that you are in a cult. It is just a term that has gotten thrown around a lot recently because people hate on fitness. And also, let's acknowledge that some of the fitness influencers, some of this fitness scene has gotten a little bit extreme. It's just gotten extreme. How so is it extreme? Well, this is how the algorithm works. In order to be an influencer, you have to stand out. What makes you stand out? That's being even more fit than the next person. That is popping up in the algorithm. That is always talking about food or always talking about exercise. And when you always talk about it, then that's the person that comes up. The most extreme. That's what the algorithm gives us, the most extreme version of the thing, because that's what we want. We want the most extreme version. We don't want somebody who's fit and exercises a few hours a day and is just like, meh, yeah, I exercise, so what of it? So the way social media works is that it turns nearly everything into a cult. Isn't that frustrating? I've become very frustrated with this because you want to follow an influencer, you want to follow a certain Twitter account, and then it's constantly about this. Why constantly? Well, that's what gets them shown. That's what gets the attention on them. So this is one of the many reasons I feel that the cult of fitness as a term has popped off. But when you really look at it, one, not all cults are bad. Cult culture, very similar. Very, very similar. One comes from the other. So, one, not all cults are bad. And two, yes, fitness overlaps with a lot of things that are indicative of cults. Everyone's going to get mad at me for saying that. But yeah, when you look at each little bit, you're like, okay, I can see how people might think that this is a cult. But we've addressed this many times before. The same mechanisms that are at play in a cult are also at play in a culture. So where do you draw the line? I suppose you draw the line when you can continue on your normal life. Isn't that what they say about addiction? You can be a functional fitness addict. Especially if you have an addictive personality, fitness is the way to go. So I am here today to defend the cult of fitness. But when you look at it, we do need these bullet points checked off in our minds because we are weak little humans and we need certain bullet points checked off so that we can feel stable, so that we can feel secure. Does it offer you real security? Well, some. It does offer you some real security. Does that mean that a meteor might not hit your house? No, meteor might hit your house. So how much of that security is real and how much of that security is just a cope, is just a cover for how random and cruel the universe generally is? Little column A, little column B. I am here today to defend the cult of fitness. Why would I do such a thing? Why would you defend a cult of anything? Well, we don't really have a shared belief system anymore. In fact, right now, it's rare to find someone who believes in anything, really. People pay lip service to beliefs. They pay lip service to beliefs, but they don't actually believe them. When the rubber hits the road, when it's time to act, do they act in the way that they have been speaking? No, nobody believes anything. People just trying to make money. Nobody believes. I'm going to do another video on this entirely, how all religions in the United States have kind of become a very similar religion because what we won't really say is that our God is the dollar. Good or bad, that's the way it is. That having been said, it does benefit us to have some kind of shared belief system that's not just worshiping the dollar. So we are living in a time where our former belief systems are breaking down and it's just moral and spiritual and mental chaos. It's chaos. So, Band-Aid solution, cult of fitness. I'm just going to throw it out there, okay? I'm pitching that to the audience at home. The cult of fitness as a quick Band-Aid over the time when we believed in something and whatever is coming next. We kind of went over this in the Crucible video, that when the witch trials in Europe stopped, they didn't stop because people all of a sudden realized it was wrong and it was immoral and blah, 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 blah. There were people saying it was wrong and immoral in the middle of when it was happening. It stopped because they adopted a new belief system, and that was the Enlightenment. And people were like, believing in witches is silly. This person's father burned how many witches? So they got a new belief system and it worked, and good for them. No problems. But that time of chaos was the gap years between one belief system and the new belief system. So Christianity, Catholicism, and the new belief system, which is the Enlightenment, which is science, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. So I am here to pitch fitness as a temporary belief system. And hear me out, hear me out. I have a lot of good points to make. It's actually pretty strange that we are not more versed in fitness and health, because through all of human history, through most of human history, even recorded history, people understood about the importance of fitness and the importance of health. They had the Olympics in ancient Greece. They had weightlifters in ancient Egypt. The Romans, exercise. That was how they would train their troops. So, exercise. They understood this. And the Roman upper classes were the people involved in the military. So it was understood for the longest time that people should be healthy, that it was ideal to be healthy. And that sort of went away with the advent of the coming of Christianity, with the church and so forth, when it went to become more spiritual. What happens in your mind, what happens in your soul. I'm not complaining about this, because this was a good addition to our repertoire of ideas. I'm not complaining in any which way. Just to say that the cult of fitness would not actually be new, because in ancient times, people understood the importance of health and of fitness. One interesting story from history, from ancient history, is Milo of Croton. Milo of Croton. Okay, he understood progressive strength training. And he understood it because, according to the legend, he carried a calf from the time of its birth until it became a full-grown cow. Did this happen? I mean, when you do the math, you think that a calf grows into a cow over the course of a year. So he went in a year, was able to do that. However, they did understand the dynamics of lifting weight, of staying healthy way, 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 way back in the day. And that sort of went away in the Dark Ages, medieval era. That sort of went away, and that was early Christendom, et cetera, et cetera. Things became more what is in the mind, what is in the spirit. Okay, fine. I don't have a problem with mind and spirit. It's a good addition. But let's not throw away the baby with the bathwater, because the Romans understood as well how important it was to remain physically healthy. And it's only foreign to us because we come out of a culture that, until relatively recently, did not embrace making active efforts towards your health. After the Renaissance, it took a while for physical culture to really get off the ground. It really started popping around the 18th century. Darwinism helped. Charles Darwin, Origin of the Species, where survival of the fittest. So that's where people understood it is good to be more fit. It's not just all what's up here and in here. It's also what's here, which the Romans got. I'm not a Rome stand. Y'all be like, Maya, you are a total Roman stan. We can't deal with this. I'm not. I just appreciate good things that came out of Rome. And that's one of them, is that they understood that strength matters. Physical strength matters. After the Renaissance, it took a little while for that to come back around. We had the 18th century. Then we started getting gymnasiums being built, a physical culture in the 19th century. And then the Nazis kind of took it to a place. So we're not going to talk about the Nazis taking it there. We're not going to talk about the Nazis taking it there. We're not going to talk about eugenics because... And don't act like the USA wasn't actively practicing eugenics either. Getting overly confident in new science they just learned about yesterday. Seems like a pattern. Where have we seen this before? Eugenics was a complete misunderstanding of fitness, survival of the fittest, Darwinism. Eugenics was a mess. So just because eugenics happened, and I think this is what I see a lot online, just because eugenics happened, people assume that fitness culture, survival of the fittest, has to do with eugenics. And it really doesn't. This was just confused. This was because people got these new ideas and they didn't know what to do with them. So they're like, oh, let's kill the Jews. Like, oh, don't do that. Why does everything end with you killing the Jews? Stop. Europe, really need to stop doing that. And there's something to be said that cultures that value fitness tend to other and abuse people they deem lesser. However, it's obvious to 2022 me that humans will other each other and attack for literally any reason whatsoever. Any reason. In our fitness journey, it's important not to other people who are on their couch journey. Othering happens in politics, religion, diet, fashion, music, etc., not just fitness. Othering is a feature, not a bug of being human, sadly. We must remain vigilant. Video coming, but not this one. And in the past century, in the 20th century, Jack LaLanne Jack LaLanne was like the prophet of fitness. He came out and he told everybody, you can exercise. And people were like, I'm going to exercise? I'm going to pay you money to exercise? I'm going to exercise for free? Because they would exercise to their job. People had more demanding jobs. So, of course, it makes sense. If they're like, why would I give you money to exercise when I could just do the washing? You do the washing, that's a lot of this, that's a lot of that. Like, this is what I'm going to do. Now, of course, over the 20th century, we got a lot more appliances. So the washing became much less laborious. Jobs became much less laborious. They became less labor intensive. So we did need that fitness. It hasn't made its way everywhere yet, but people are aware of it. Some people are very judgmental of it. They don't like it. They say that people become obsessed, that diet culture has taken over, and fair. I don't think you need to be obsessed with fitness. I don't think you need to be obsessed with diet culture. The only reason that is floating to the top is because that's what the algorithms select for, because those are the influencers who are getting the most attention, the ones that are the most obsessed, the ones that are most obsessive, OCD. This is what is required. This is what social media selects for. And so it turns a lot of people off because they're like, well, these people, this is all they do. This is all they're about. People say that they're, meatheads, that they're airheads, bimbos, all these other things. When it's like, how much fitness can you really fit into a day? Let's be honest. Let's do the math here. If you exercise for 2 hours, which is extreme, some of us do it. Some of us are in training. Some of us are like, I have a job. I can't do this. But if you exercise for 2 hours, so what is that? That's 1/7 of your waking day. That's what people spend watching movies. That's what people spend on social media. So even being extreme into the cult of fitness, even being an extreme fitness junkie, does not mean you're taking up most of your day. You're taking up this much of your day. Math can be very mean sometimes. Math can be cruel. But if we're going to do the math on this, being incredibly healthy and ascribing to the beliefs of the health of fitness is not going to take up your entire day. Really, you don't need to exercise for 2 hours. Even if you exercise 45 minutes a day and eat relatively healthy, don't even be obsessed about it. You don't have to be an influencer to be healthy. You can be healthy without being an influencer. If a sit-up happens at the gym and you don't put it on Instagram, did the sit-up ever happen? That's where we are. So now it becomes conflicting between people who don't want to take over their life and people who that is their entire life. We don't have to go into that. You don't have to be in either one of these groups to ascribe to the cult of fitness. And why is it a cult? Well, it's a cult because it checks off a lot of the cult boxes. Let's go through them. First off, you have a tribe. You have a tribe of people who believe like you, whether that tribe is linked together by a hashtag, something that you follow, whether that tribe is linked together by an actual room, an actual studio where you go and you do yoga with other people, you do dance with other people, whether that is a gym, whatever it is, an MMA studio, you have a tribe. And so that is the number one aspect of an actual cult. You have other people who are all on the same page as you. A little culty, but also a little culture-y. Oftentimes there is a leader, a single individual that instructs you on what to do. Now, I prefer fitness gurus to actual gurus because it's less likely that the fitness guru is trying to sleep with you. Maybe I'm cynical, but you know that the lesson from the first year of this entire YouTube channel was do not get caught in a harem. A lot of girls, they missed that message. They got themselves caught up in a harem and now they all have to share the same daddy or whatever. Oof. This is why I actually prefer exercise gurus to religious gurus because they're not trying to put you in a harem. They're probably not trying to impregnate you with their seed. They're not trying to make an army that's more of them. All they want to do is sell you some fitness DVDs, sell you a fitness program, maybe get you to join their squad or whatever, but they're not trying to do anything super creepy. A lot of them are actually very well-meaning people, very positive, well-meaning people. In fact, I should say most of them are very positive, well-meaning people. Very rarely do you find a fitness guru who's trying to put you in a harem. Bikram guy excluded. Can we talk about Bikram guy? How creepy was that? This guy say he invented all this yoga stuff, didn't invent any of the stuff, just came to the United States and put all these white women in his harem. I mean, props. That's pretty devious and funny. So I can't hate on someone for being that funny, but you should be smarter than that. Don't get caught up in some exercise guru's harem. Don't get caught up in anybody's harem. You are a free spirit. You deserve your own personal dude. Whatever. So there we go. Just like a cult, many of these fitness movements have one central figure. And that figure can be positive and that figure can be negative. Bikram guy. That documentary is actually on Netflix. I'm going to link it at the bottom. It's not funny. It's not funny, haha, but it's also funny, like, please, you didn't invent all this yoga. Back in the day, you could just be Indian and say you invented yoga and people would believe you. This is different now. But yeah, it has that one central figure, which is similar to cults, but similar to cultures as well. Similar to any movement, it helps it if it has that one figure that people can coalesce around. Now, a lot of fitness movements do not have that central figure. You don't even need to have that central figure, but some of them do. So that's another point. Now, as we discussed in Rate My Cult many times, the practices, the shared practices. I love the exercise shared practices because you do suffer together, and that makes the team bond stronger. So in that way, it is similar to the cults we've discussed in Rate My Cult. It's a shared trauma, a shared suffering that they go into together. Now, for fitness and for exercise, this is actually very helpful because you are supposed to suffer. It makes you stronger. But as we discussed with Mother God, trauma good for fitness, trauma bad in cult. So similar things used different ways. Fitness as well has their doctrines. The Doctrine of Fitness is a suffering, it's discipline. The Cult of Fitness doctrine is actually fairly positive, in my opinion. It's realism, it's science, it's hard work, it's dedication, a lot of positivity. This can be turned, as we've seen in the cults. They have different doctrines entirely. The doctrine is you must suffer for the group, you must suffer for this, you must suffer for that. Suffer, suffer, suffer. Give us your money. I would say that the doctrine involved in the Cult of Fitness is less so beliefs and more so scientifically based. Is that going to change over the years? We know science changes over the years. It adapts, it evolves, et cetera, et cetera. But there is something to be said for the positivity of the Cult of Fitness. Something to be said for that. That if you work hard towards something, that you can achieve things. So that's kind of the doctrine. Hard work pays off. Is it always true? No, it's not always true. It's usually true in fitness. And so I think it's a much more helpful doctrine than some of these other ones, especially some of these other ones that I've been researching recently. It's like, that don't add up. You read some of them and you're like, that's your doctrine? No wonder why you have to isolate people from the outside world, because the outside world is going to be like, that's not true. But the Cult of Fitness doctrine is actually quite true. It's hard work usually pays off. So it has a doctrine in that way. Just like the Rate My Cults. Now, if I was going to do a Rate My Cult on the Cult of Fitness, I would say that the quality of the followers of the Cult of Fitness is much higher than many of these other cults. As we've learned before, a lot of cults' downfall is low quality followers. You can't just get any scrub off the street and expect them to help your cult. They can hinder it just as much as help it. But the Cult of Fitness followers are actually pretty capable people. So quality of the followers, I would give them full points on that one. That having been said, the fact that we are familiar with this and we are able to use this knowledge to benefit our bodies is a huge leap forward. Huge leap forward even over the past 50, 60 years. Thank you so much, Jack LaLanne, for teaching us all of these things. Because it's not just about your body. People are like, oh, so you have a nice body. It's not just about your body. Your body comes after. The body is a consequence of the action. You're going to get a hot body from doing all these things, from having a discipline, from forming these habits. The body just comes. I saw something. Oh my God. Oh, it bothered me so much. It was one meme. It said, anybody can work out for an hour a day. It's what you put on your plate the rest of the time that really makes the difference. I'm looking at this like, why would you even put that? Okay, you wanted it to get shared. You wanted it to get liked, et cetera, et cetera. You want this stuff. But what kind of message does that send? If you work out for an hour a day and you screw up and you eat a candy bar, if you're working out every day, or if you're working out for an hour a day and you screw up and you eat a candy bar, does that mean the whole day is wasted? No, that's nonsense. That's just people need to put something so that you share their stupid meme. Probably don't go out after that and eat a plate of fried food this big, but if you just eat something and it fills you up and it, oh God, it has carbs. It has carbs. Oh my God, carbs are not going to kill you. And this is why people get turned off from being healthy, because they see these stupid memes and they say, well, I'm not going to be able to control everything I put on my plate for the rest of the day. Why would I even bother? People doing a lot more damage than they understand just trying to stand out, which is a problem, which goes across every single possible point. That goes across every single possible point of influence. So any kind of small community, the most extreme floats to the top. Me personally, I like the fact that fitness teaches that you can reach your goals through effort and more so than through belief. Because when you put the effort in, when one puts the effort in, they have that sort of firsthand experiential knowledge. It might sound silly to some people, especially if you're not familiar with it, but you can transcend through physical exertion. You can have a transcendent experience. I've had many different kinds of transcendent experiences through meditation, through various helpers. Hey man, I'm living my life out here. I'm trying to do the best I can. I'm trying to get in touch with my spirit, etc., etc. But I'll tell you one thing, the stuff that I have learned through psychedelics is not more important than what I have learned through fitness. That's just firsthand knowledge. The stuff you learn through physical exertion, the transcendence that you get, even working together with other people, it's different than the psychedelic experience. It's different than the spiritual experience, but it is just as helpful. And this is where people get where they say, oh, I want to reject the material. I'm trying to transcend this life. I'm trying to whatever. Why would you reject the material? You're literally on the material plane. Don't reject the material. Don't go off and become materialistic, as in, I need to buy the latest designer clothes. I need to have this car. I need to shove it in the faces of everybody else I've ever met before that I have more than them. That's not the essence of materialism. Materialism just means material. Matter. This is what we discussed earlier in the video when we talked about how Christian ideology, the belief in the spirit, kind of pushed out the belief in the physical, which had its benefits. But let's bring some of that back there. We're not going to transcend the material plane while on the material plane. We can dive deeper into the material plane through understanding fitness and understanding what our bodies can do for us. Some people say, well, that's not enough. That's not enough to be spiritual. That's not spirituality. That is not true. First off, there is no proof yet that we are any more than our bodies. Oh, I know, I just dropped that. I probably should have warned you first, but there's no proof yet that we are more than a bunch of cells working together. There's no proof that we are more than the material. I happen to believe that we are more than the material. That is my personal belief system. But if we're not, our body is still pretty awesome. If that's all there is, and it is just the material world, and it is just what we are seeing right now, that is still incredibly amazing. And so to explore that by exploring what a body can do for you, the body that you are, perhaps, or the body that was given to you, your soul, exploring that using this particular plane of existence to explore the physical body. How is this a waste? How is this not the most spiritual thing that you can think of? And that's not even to go into say, once you figure out the basics and can really work with your body, can work with a team, whether it's rowing and you're on the same rhythm. You know those row songs? And everyone's rowing it together at the same time? That happened one time to me when we were in power skating, and I couldn't think of the word, so I had to get it. So they had the skate guard, and they were basically doing a drum on the side, and they were making us all move our feet to the same rhythm. And we all were moving our feet to the same rhythm. And it was like gazelles running around a circle. We were skating around a circle. And it was just like, I forgot my feet were moving for a second. And I imagine this is what rowers feel. You forget that your feet are moving and you are just with everybody else. And somehow everybody else is doing right, left, right, left. Dancers do this as well. Once you get past the fear of the choreography, once you can actually learn the choreo and you can get into the movement, and then it becomes a physically transcendent experience. I don't know how to explain it. Maybe my vocabulary isn't good enough. There's a possibility there. But to belittle fitness and to say that these are just bros or these people, they're not intellectual, it means that people do not understand. They don't understand how deep and wealthy this culture is, because it has a lot to offer. The whirling dervishes. Do you know those people? They spin around. They're mystics in Iran, and they turn around. They whirl around. Whirling dervishes is what they call them. And they are mystics, and they transcend They transcend common knowledge. I'll just say that. Basic knowledge? How do you say? Because in meditation, when you really get to that point in meditation, you're living outside of your body. You're experiencing outside of your body. The walls that are your skin or whatever kind of fall away, and you sort of are at one with the universe somehow. So I don't know how to say that except to say that it's transcendent. But if you have a better vocabulary word, I'm more than willing to hear it. But that's what they do. They twirl around. They twirl around, and that exertion makes them forget everything and become one with divine, the divinity, divine oneness, whatever that is. And they're just all on the same page. Just like the rowers, just like the skaters, just like the gazelles running around in that circle. There's something beautiful about that. And we try to reject that we're animals. We say, we're not animals, we are this, we are that. Even if we are animals, that's amazing. Do you know how amazing animals are? Just looking at, first off, they're beautiful. A healthy one is beautiful. They're beautiful. All of their systems, like the fact that they're a big clump of different kind of cells working together to make this being that's majestic. And then on top of that, there's a bunch of them running around in a circle. How are you not just awed by that? Even if it is, there's no God. If it's just this mortal coil, if that's all there is, that's pretty amazing. And I'm not saying there is or there isn't. No opinions one way or the other. I'm just saying it's amazing. It really is amazing. So that's where the cult of fitness, once you get past the preliminary, once you get past the 101, once you get past the, okay, I go to the gym 3 times a week, I work arms these days, I work legs these days, don't skip leg day, it's part of the process. Once you get past that, once you are doing it for a few years, and you see that there's a lot more to be learned from the physical body, from physical exertion, there's depth there. There's philosophical depth within fitness by itself. So when I look around and I see people floundering, I see people, they believe in nothing. This is society right now. Let's not kid ourselves. We lack a belief system. We lacked a cohesive thing that we can all say, that is true. Even right now, people can't all say it is good to be healthy. They can't even say it. We are swimming in chaos. We have been swimming in chaos for a solid 5 years now, and people will say we've been swimming in chaos since after 9/11. So we are in this flood of chaos, and people can't even say it is good to be healthy. They can't even say it. It is better to be healthy, and most of us can be healthy if we ascribe to the right belief system. So here I am. I'm pitching the cult of fitness as possibly that belief system. Is it the be all and end all? No. Is it enough for one lifetime? Absolutely. You might get another lifetime. Buddhists believe you get another lifetime. Buddhists believe you get many more lifetimes. So we're going to come back to this earth and learn more every single lifetime. But if you are like many of us, unfortunately, and you're swimming around in a sea of nothingness that is modern society, grab hold to the cult of fitness. And then when something better comes along, hopefully there'll be like another enlightenment. Who knows? Might not happen in our lifetime. Hopefully it does, but whatever. Then we'll go to that. But to just fall into chaos, to just be powerless and to not take control over ourselves and our lives, this is unhealthy. This is where I think it's dangerous. So I guess the thesis of this video, the point of this whole video, if I had one pitch to give that summarized this entire video, it would be this. The cult of fitness. Good for now. Subscribe.